All right. So this is your assignment for this week. I'm going to go over it real quick to make sure you understand how to do it. Okay. The first 7 questions are all basically vocabulary. There is one thing we haven't talked about. Well, we have, but I haven't given you the word for it. Okay. The top or the bottom point, we've been calling it the maximum or the minimum. Okay. It has its own name. Okay. It's called the vertex. The vertex is that point where it decides to come back up or go back down, the very high or the very bottom point. Okay, again, the vertex, I'm going to go ahead and give it to you. Number 4, again, I apologize, I forgot to mention it to you this week. But the vertex is the point where the graph has a very bottom or a very top. Okay? So 1 through 7 are all vocabulary words. Vertex we just talked about. Okay, you know what a parabola is. We know if you have a minimum or maximum. You know what the axis of symmetry is. You know what the zeros. You know what the x-intercepts. You know what all that is. Okay, I'm not going to worry about spending time. Main thing, vertex. Okay, another name for maximum and minimum. All right, a maximum is the very top. A minimum is the very bottom. Both of them are technically called vertexes. All right, we're going to go down. We're going to talk about each section real quick. 9 through 11, they ask you to tell me how many roots you have. And then tell me the zeros of those roots. Okay, I'm going to do one with you. On number 9, how many roots do we have? How many times does it cross the x-axis? Well, if you look at your graph, it crosses 1 time. So all I need you to do here on number of roots is tell me how many there are. It'll be 1, 2, or 0. Okay? Once if it sits on it, 2 if it crosses over twice, and 0 if it does not cross the x-axis at all. In this section here, I want you to tell me what those zeros are. Okay? In this problem, the 0 is at positive 3. Okay? Positive 3. Now, if it doesn't have any roots, okay, when it says zeros, you're going to put none. Don't put 0. If you put 0 for a solution or root, okay, that means you're telling me it's crossing at 0. If it doesn't have any, put none. Do not put 0. It's a completely different thing. All right? Go down to the next page. On this page, there are 4 answers to each question. 4 answers to each question. Okay? Now, they want you for A to list the vertex. Okay? I want you to tell me the point. So tell me the point where your vertex is, and I want you to tell me, is it a max or a min? For B, you're going to tell me the axis of symmetry. Remember, the axis of symmetry is in the vertex. It's the x value of the vertex. C, tell me if you have any solutions or zeros. If you do, tell me what they are. And for D, tell me the y-intercept. Okay, all this again, nothing new. What I do want to look at is number 14, because you haven't seen anything like this. Okay, look at number 14. If you notice, number 14 is missing something. Number 14 is missing the y value. Okay? And if you notice, there are x's on, or I'm sorry, yeah, there's no y value. Okay? The way we change that, okay? What you're going to do is you're going to make a y. The way you make a y is you want everything off of one of those sides. So basically take everything here and move it over to one side. If you notice, there's only one thing over here. Okay? I'm going to move that negative 4 over to here. That way I have nothing left on this side. How do you move a negative 4? You add that 4. Okay, that means that would go away. And you're left with nothing on that side. Okay? Do we have any other x squares we're dealing with? No, that's just a regular number, so you're going to leave it as x squared. Do we have any other x's? No, that's just a regular number, so you're going to leave it as plus 5x. Can you add that 4 to anything? No, because it is a regular number, so we're going to leave it as plus 4. Now, if you have nothing left over here, really simple, just add the y. Okay? Now it looks a lot better to deal with. So in your calculator, on your graph portion, menu 3.2, go to row 1 and type it in exactly as it's written. X squared plus 5x plus 4 equals y. And you should get a parabola. I don't know if you can see that very well, but there's your parabola. Okay? Now, for A, I don't remember what they wanted us to find, to be honest with you. Sorry about that. On A, they want you to find the vertex. Okay? To find the vertex. Now, again, we talked about this earlier on the bell ringer, or sorry, earlier today, but the vertex is that maximum or minimum point. Okay? So the way we find that is we go menu 5.1 and we want to move our dot or move our point to the vertex. Sorry guys, got a bad calculator. Alright, and again it'll say your vertex will be the maximum or minimum. So there's your minimum right there. So the minimum is your vertex. So for A, your vertex is going to be negative 2.5 and negative 2.25. Okay, there's your vertex. Okay, B asks you to find the axis of symmetry. Okay, the axis of symmetry, remember, comes from the x value of your vertex. Okay, it's the x value. So we're going to say x equals negative 2.5. Okay, your axis of symmetry is the x value of the vertex. Alright, C asks you to find the zeros if you have any. Okay, so if we go back to our graph, you'll notice we have two spots where the graph hits the y or the x-axis. Okay, so we're going to go find them by moving our graph. Sorry guys, again, calculator not responding. We're going to move it until it gives us that little yellow box that says 0. Okay, so there's one of them at negative 1. So there's one of them at negative 1. And we're just going to go back over until we see the little yellow box that says 0. Negative 4. So our zeros are negative 4 and negative 1. And then your last part, find the y-intercept. You guys are familiar with finding the y-intercept, but just to make sure, again, menu 5.1, we're already there, so all we have to do is move over until we find the y-intercept. And it'll tell you flat out the y-intercept. So there's your little yellow box. The y-intercept is at 0, 4. So your y-intercept, 0, 4. Okay? That's all you're doing for these 4 problems. Okay? Number 17 is a little tricky. I'm not going to tell you much on that because I want you to try to figure that out on your own. Alright? Going down to the last portion. You have 6 graphs. Okay? And on each one of these graphs, they want you to identify the vertex, the max or min value, the axis, the zeros, which direction it's opening, and the y-intercept. Okay? So you're going to do this right here for each question. Okay? Each question, each graph will have a vertex, a max or a min, an axis, a zero, a direction, and a y-intercept. Okay? I'm going to look at this one right here, and then you're going to be on your own. Alright? So the first thing they ask us to find is the vertex. Okay? Again, the vertex is the very top or bottom point. In this case, your vertex is right here. Your vertex is right there. Now, what is your vertex? Your vertex is a point, so it has to have an x and a y. Okay? So, we are at -4 and in between -8 and 10, so I'm going to say -9. So -4, -9. -4, -9. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now on this one, it is not a perfect point, so give me something close to it. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfect, just close to it. Alright, find the max or the min value. Okay, remember, the max or the min value is the y value. Okay, so we have to write it as y equals. So the min or maximum value, in this case it's a minimum, is y equals -9. It's the y value of your vertex. Okay? Your axis of symmetry is the x value of the vertex. So once you find the vertex, you found those two immediately. Okay, so it's x equals -4. Okay, x equals -4. It's the x value of the vertex. Alright, for the next section, we're finding the zeros. Okay, how many zeros do you have? Well, I'm looking at them and I see 2. I've got one there and one there. Okay? So you're going to write out what the zeros are. In this case, we have -7 and -1. Okay? If you have 2 of them, write that you have 2 of them. Don't write it like this because that's a point. Write it like this and this. If you have only one, just write 1. If you don't have any zeros, put none. Do not put 0. Put none. Okay? The direction of opening, fairly simple. It's opening up, which means it is positive. Okay, we talked about that earlier in the week. And your last one is the y-intercept. Where does the graph cross the y-axis? Okay? If you look up here, here's your y-axis, and there's where it crosses, in between 6 and 8. Now we don't know exactly, but again, I'm not asking you to be exact, I'm asking you to get close, okay? Because we don't have a calculator to calculate all this information. But between 6 and 8, looks like your y-intercept is going to be at 0, 7. I do want you to write the y-intercept as a point, okay? You have 6 of those. You have a few vocabulary words. You got a couple equations. So make sure you get everything done. Turn it in by the end of the day Friday. If you have any problems or questions, please let me know. Make sure you're doing your work. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Okay, I will do what I can to accommodate you. Guys, have a good weekend. Have a good break. Be safe. See you guys on Monday.